We welcome you to Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City for the Phillips 66 2019 Big 12 Conference Baseball Championship Tournament. Game 4 of 4 today is about ready to get underway with TCU, the number 6 seed, taking on third-seeded Oklahoma State. As has been the case throughout the day, there is a lot on the line for both of these teams, and this is a premier matchup when it comes to pitching for TCU and for Oklahoma State, the power that the Cowboys possess in their offensive lineup. Here's what's transpired so far in bracket number 2, the evening session, if you will. Baylor jumped out to an early lead on Oklahoma and never really let the Sooners into the game. The second-seeded Bears remain alive. In the winner's bracket, Oklahoma relegated to an elimination game against the loser of the game we're about to see. So we're ready to go with TCU and Oklahoma State. Hi, everybody. Alongside Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. It is great to have you with us. And, Mickey, this is kind of the dessert. We've been waiting for this game all day because we're going to see one of the top pitchers in all of college baseball in Nick Lodolo for TCU in what is a must-win situation for the Horned Frogs. And he's going to be facing one of the most formidable lineups in all of the country.
Well, it's power against power. And with Lodolo, it's one of the best pitchers in the country. He's looking at a high draft pick. Oklahoma State, a team that hits a lot of home runs. Oklahoma State is trying to build on the resume that they already have with the strength of schedule, their RPI. TCU's trying to get in. They've had an enormous amount of injuries this year, and they've just really been dealt a tough hand in that department, but they're still a very good team, and it should be a great matchup. I can't wait.
TCU's a team that possesses an excellent offense, but because of some problems they've had defensively, the bullpen has let them down. It's put them in a position where they have not yet reached that 30-win plateau, but they could do it today, and if they can do it against this Oklahoma State team that finished third in the Big 12 Conference regular season standings, but comes to Oklahoma City thinking not just about hosting a regional, they've got their sights set on impressing enough to make sure that a super regional, that they're one of the top national seeds. So that's why this game is so big for Oklahoma State. You don't want to work your way through the tournament, go through the loser's bracket, get to Sunday maybe and hope. This is the kind of game that for Oklahoma State that they could control, perhaps hosting a lot more baseball in Stillwater before all is said and done.
Well, they're closing Ali P. Reynolds Stadium this year. It's been around for a long time. They're building a brand new ballpark that's going to be beautiful. And for Oklahoma State, they certainly would like to. I believe they're going to host a regional. I think they're looking beyond that at a super regional. So it should just, it's going to be a really, really good matchup. Like I said, you got one of the best college pitchers going up against one of the best power hitting teams.
Parker Scott will work for Oklahoma State. He's the starter, and he's going to be facing a TCU lineup that was basically overhauled literally minutes ago.
Yeah, we just got a new lineup just a little bit while ago, so we're all kind of scrambling up here to put it together. But you look at Scott's numbers, he's 2-1, 12 appearances on the year. He's had 5 starts, and 3 of them have come in Big 12 conference play, so he's a little bit late, if you will, into the season getting some starts. But another kid with a quality earned run average, 1.44, 31 innings pitched, 38 strikeouts, 10 walks. So it's a good matchup for Oklahoma State against TCU as well, as far as an offense that can really produce some runs.
So this is who Parker Scott will see now. The late addition to the lineup for TCU, the decision was made. Jake Gunther is going to give it a go. He's been bothered by injury of late. They didn't know if he would be available at all for the entire tournament. He was not in the lineup that we were given about 30 minutes ago, but about 3 minutes ago we were given a new lineup, and this is how it's going to line up for Jim Schlossnagle. Hunter Wolf will lead it off. Josh Watson's going to bat second. You've got Gunther now. Pin him into that number 3 spot. Henry Reiser, Kiefer, Zach Humphreys, Connor Shepard. And rounding out the lineup for TCU, they took it away from me. Adam Oviedo will go at shortstop. So underway with TCU and Oklahoma State, the 3 versus 6 matchup, and Scott's first pitch. He is in there for a strike.
First 2 pitches.
First 2 pitches. I'm busy writing my lineup here.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing over here.
Well, that's good news for TCU. Just having Gunther's presence may be the kind of shot that they need. A little bit of momentum. There's a ball that's fouled off. And the count holds at 0-2. Hunter Wolf on the season, a junior, hitting .297. playing in just his 37th game of the year for the Horned Frogs, who have played 53 in the calendar year. That fouled straight back, and the count holds at 2 strikes. After him, it'll be Josh Watson and then Gunther. Now, what does Gunther do for TCU? 348 on the season. Big bat, productive bat, but also presence. There's a grounder to the second baseman, and the throw to first, and there's one away. That's Houston Morrill handling things at second for OSU. Defensively for the Cowboys, around the outfield, McCusker is in left. Boone's the center fielder. Cavanis will be in right. That's a good outfield. It's also a big outfield with McCusker going 6'7" and Cavanis 6'5". Around the infield, Funk, Navigado, Morrill, and Garcia. Behind the plate is the catcher, Colin Simpson. And we've introduced you to Parker Scott already. Here's Josh Watson with one away, and he belts a base hit into left field. And with one down, TCU has its first base runner.
Well, TCU can swing the bat. When you look at them, they come in here in third in the conference and hitting at .291 as a team. 53 home runs on the year. That's a little bit surprising, too, especially the direction in which their ballpark faces down there, where the left-handers are hitting into a south wind. Scary team offensively.
Lefty to lefty, and that's high and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Well, it's an offense that is productive, but it's also an offense that's had a lot of pressure on it this season because they've just committed so many errors this year. 73 on the season for TCU, and ordinarily you see those numbers reversed. Maybe 37 errors would be an average year for TCU, but the fielding problems have given extra outs, forcing pitchers to pitch extra before getting through innings 4, 5, maybe 6. Taxed the bullpen, and as a result, it has not gone the way Jim Schlossnagle and everybody expected it to go for the Horned Frogs in 2019. But here they are, a win shy of 30 on the season. If the offense can maintain, they can get some help for Lodolo and out of the pitching side, go deep into games, shore up the defense. This is a team that could scare everybody here in Oklahoma City.
Well, it's just not a team that Coach Schlossnagle is used to. I think especially from the fielding side of it, they have really hurt themselves by giving teams extra outs this year. And when we talked to him earlier in the week, you know, they try not to get their starting pitchers over 110 pitches. But whenever you're allowing teams to have extra at-bats per inning, that's increasing that pitch count, so it's shortening your starting pitcher's outing up. So they're having to go to a bullpen, which has been a little bit questionable at times, a little earlier than they might want to.
So Gunther's at the plate. The injury that's bothered him is a wrist injury. He's missed the last 3 games, and again, questionable coming in, and was not penciled in until just prior to this game starting. But here he is, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Josh Watson is the runner over at first base. And the count moves to 2-2. TCU is 29-24 overall, 11-13 in Big 12 play. Struggled somewhat at home, going 16-11, near 500 on the road at 9-10. And this ball is stroked to the gap, left center field. Sliding over and making the catch and robbing Gunther is Trevor Boone. What a play defensively.
Well, not only can he hit homers, he can play a little bit of defense as well. A very unique setup right there when you see the Oklahoma State defense. They were planning to pull in the infield and shading Gunther to left field in the outfield. Really does a nice job, just runs this ball down right here. Gunther hit it hard. Nothing you can do about it, just a better play defensively.
If that gets past Boone, that might have scored a run. That ball could have gotten to the outfield wall. Instead, it's a great defensive play in the top half of the first inning. And that brings Austin Henry to the plate. He's hitting at .279 on the year. Watson's the runner at first. 2 down. Swing and a miss.
One thing we will see from both these offenses is that they are not afraid to swing the bat. Evident early here by TCU. They have come out. They know that both these pitchers are going to throw strikes.
Before the 0-1, a high toss over to first. And Watson gets back.
You know, even though the year that TCU's had has been a little bit difficult, it is amazing the run that they have had. Not only in the Big 12 throughout their last few years, but into the postseason as well. Trips to Omaha.
4 consecutive trips to Omaha.
It's just kind of one of those teams that you take for granted they're going to be there every year, and then when they have a little bit of hiccup, you see Jim Schlossnagle just done an amazing job, his staff. And he's really had to piece things together this year.
16 seasons now heading up the TCU program. 1 ball and 1 strike and another throw to first. Watson is drawing a lot of attention. He has said he has never had a season like the one he and the Horned Frogs have had to endure this year because of the injuries. This is a team that had high rankings preseason, top 20, flirted with the top 15. And they were ranked up until about mid-April, and they've been out ever since. But it's a team that with a good run here might get back in the conversation for an NCAA regional. TCU program has won the Big 12 tournament title on 2 occasions. You go back to 2014, again 2016. Came close last year in a must-win to get to the regional. They ended up losing 6-5 in 11 innings to Baylor. It's a game that Jim Schlossnagle has said is one of the most crushing defeats that he's had to endure as the Horned Frogs head coach. But the key in all that is they know what it takes to win here, to get through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, get to Sunday, and give yourself a chance. Ball ripped foul off to the right side. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 away. The runner will go with the pitch. Been a lengthy top half of the first inning. TCU nothing to show for it just yet.
One thing that Schlossnagle's teams have always had is very dominant pitching. And when you lose 93 and 95 right off the get-go, 2 pitchers that were projected to be in your starting rotation, and that's hard to replace.
Ball 4 to Henry. So he reaches with a 2-out walk. That'll move Watson ahead to second base. And Johnny Reiser will come to the plate. 309 hitter on the season. Watson, Henry, Reiser have all been in the lineup 53 games in starting roles, every game this season. Still early, but a big moment here for TCU. And remember that great defensive play by Trevor Boone out there in center field. He robbed Gunther of at least a base hit, maybe extras, maybe a run scores.
Well, you don't want to give up runs when you're getting ready to face a guy you're getting ready to face. His last outing against Texas Tech gave up no runs against a really good hitting team down in Lubbock. And even though Oklahoma State, out of all the teams that here have the most dominant power team, you still don't want to fall behind when you're facing a pitcher like Lodolo.
First pitch taken for a strike by Reiser. 9 home runs on the year. Didn't see any home runs earlier in the day, but Oklahoma and Baylor played some long ball. Showed power, also utilized the wind, which right now is blowing pretty briskly right to left, out toward left field here at Bricktown Ballpark. Off speed, just floats outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Cowboy faithful already a little disgruntled. It's early in the game and they're already upset at the home plate umpire.
You might know a thing or two about that. The 1-1. Fastball, ground ball, left side. Smothered to throw. In time to get the runner. 2 great defensive plays turned in by Oklahoma State. Christian Funk, the third baseman, making the play to his left, and a nice job at first base by Alex Garcia to hang in there and haul it in. So TCU threatens just a little bit. Can't get the job done offensively. They'll put the ball in the hands of one of the best in the country, Nick Lodolo. Cowboy fans are here. Horned Frog fans are here. Game 4 of the day is underway. TCU got a base hit in the top half of the first. Could not plate a run against Parker Scott. Here's the lineup that Josh Holliday has put together. Houston Morrow is going to lead it off. Christian Funk had a great defensive play in that top half of the first. He'll bat second. Navigado, Simpson 3 and 4. Trevor Boone, the sliding catch in center field, kept the Horned Frogs off the board. Big Carson McCusker. He is the left fielder. Alex Garcia, Jake Taylor, and Cade Cavanis, the right fielder, will bat in the 9th spot. And that formidable Cowboy lineup will be facing big, tall, lanky Nick Lodolo for TCU.
Well, where do you want to start? When you look at the record, 6 and 4, that's a little misleading. 14 appearances, all in the starting row. 218, 91 innings pitched, 113 strikeouts, but only 19 walks. I mean, this kid has been amazing all year long.
First pitch swinging, Houston Morrow. Pop up, and that falls in the middle of the triangle. 3 Horned Frogs can't get up to it. And it's a high arcing single to Morrow, and Oklahoma State has a runner on.
Morrow took a big old swing at this ball, and it looked like he hit it off the end of the bat and popped it up a little bit. Center fielder Reiser just was not able to get a good jump on it and run that ball down. And for Oklahoma State, the leadoff hitter aboard.
Next up is the third baseman, Christian Funk. So is that the game plan against Lodolo?
Well, he's not gonna mess around. He's going to be around the strike zone throwing strikes. So you're going to try to be a little bit more aggressive with a guy like him.
One ball to Funk. 249 on the season, making his 50th start of 2019. He shows bunt, takes a strike on the outer half.
And I think that just shows the respect for Lodolo right there. This is a power hitting team. They're scoring around a bunt the bottom half of the first inning. Just trying to get as many guys as they can into scoring position. They understand how difficult this guy is to hit.
Gunther is holding the runner on at first. That's it. Right wrist heavily taped. Which is glove hand.
Now, this time of year, these kids have played a lot of baseball. There's going to be some bumps and bruises. Tape them up, get out there and go play.
Well, as the game goes on, we'll chronicle the injury situation for TCU, and it's pretty formidable, and there's a lot of understanding in what you read. A lot of teams can point to, well, we had an injury here, a couple guys banged up here. But you look at the roster on the sidelines for TCU, and it's a pretty good team. Flip to second for the first down and on to first for the double play. That erases Morrill.
Yeah, that's another one of those tailor-made double plays right there. Ball's hit not real hard, but hard enough. Funk runs good from the left side. Tailor-made 6-4-3 right there.
Good turn by Henry and plenty of time. Now Andrew Navigado, the junior, 289 on the season. 12 home runs, 35 runs driven in. Navigado in the 3 spot now with 2 away. Left-hander, right-hander swinging at the first pitch. We've seen that before. From third to first in time, and that retires the side. So quickly Navigado is erased, and that will do it for OSU in the home half of inning number 1. Both teams got a run. Neither team scored. So we're scoreless going to the second. One inning in, scoreless between TCU and Oklahoma State. The Cowboys climbing near the top 10, hoping for a top national seed to host not just a regional but a super, get into the top 8. Exciting time of year in college baseball, and a lot of debate as to who's in, who's out, who might host not once but twice. But the way the Cowboys have played, they got swept at Texas Tech and then went on the road to Corvallis and took on defending national champion Oregon State, and didn't just beat them once or twice, swept the series in Corvallis. And that's as impressive a 3-game stretch as really anybody in the country has put together this season, to go on the road to challenge a team like that at that time of year. And Josh Holliday, when we talked to him, said, yeah, the coach might be a little bit crazy for doing something like that. But he said we won games in 3 different ways, close games, had to battle, but got the job done. And to do it at that time is what really has elevated Oklahoma State into that conversation about being a national seed, and justifiably so.
Yeah, he challenged his guys late in the year. It was their off week. Maybe could have found a little bit easier opponent. But that was coming off a sweep against Texas Tech, which they really went out there and got blown out. They were not competitive at all. And then to see what they did, and then come home and face an Oklahoma team in Bedlam. You never know what's going to happen there. They take 2 out of 3 there, and then were able to beat Baylor the 2 games that they were able to play because of weather. So it's been a very impressive finish to the regular season for the Cowboys.
Ball ripped out to the shortstop off the bat of Andrew Kiefer. One down for Zach Humphreys.
But, you know, that's what both these coaches do. They challenge their team, especially early in the year. Jim Schlossnagle, some of the tournaments, before the regular season that he has his team. Tim Tadlock at Texas Tech does the same thing. He's getting these guys ready to go to Omaha. He's not worried about, you know, what his record's going to look like. He's challenging his guys to go out and play against the best teams, so they'll be prepared.
Beautiful breaking pitch, settling in for a strike to Humphreys. Zach's at 267 this season. 2 home runs, 24 runs driven in. And that is lined out to second, played perfectly to his right. That's the second baseman, Houston Morrill.
Well, right now, Parker Scott is not missing many barrels. There's been some balls that have been squared up. His defense has made some really good plays behind him. There's another one right there. The diving catch by Boone in the first inning. The diving play by Funk in the first inning.
Two down for Connor Shepard, the third baseman. And that's high.
You know, Oklahoma State They won the series down in Fort Worth when they played TCU, but they had 2 ninth-inning rallies to do it. A late home run by Colin Simpson to tie the game. They went on to win it in 11. And then the next day, another late-inning rally to win down there. So TCU's confident they can play with these guys.
And they're confident when they come here. As I mentioned, they've won 2 Big 12 tournament titles. Last year's TCU team was 33-23 and was also seeded 6th in the Big 12 tourney. Reached the championship game and again lost that heartbreaker to Baylor. Seeded 6th again, taking on the number 3 seed Oklahoma State. And that is called strike 3 and emphatically punched out by home plate umpire Michael Banks.
Yeah, good fastball on the outside corner right there from Scott. Got Shepard looking.
TCU goes in order, 3 up, 3 down, and the last one's a strikeout, and that retires the side, and the Horned Frogs still scoreless through an inning and a half. Going into the bottom half of the first inning, Oklahoma State to the plate. Here's the injury bug that has, well, riddled TCU all season long. You got 4 players out for the year. Smith, Sloan, Cook. Get back to that in just a moment. Leading it off is Colin Simpson, the Cowboy catcher, 246 with 12 home runs on the season. And a fastball away.
Well, that's tough, though, even that list. There's my boy Weedy, Danny Wheat, the trainer. That man's put a lot of ice bags on me. He was the trainer in Texas.
Well, Russell Smith had Tommy John surgery at the end of fall practice. 12 appearances in 2018 as a freshman. High expectations for him. There's a ball lifted high in the air. Again, the wind is blowing out that way. If it's high enough, it might be far enough, and it's gone. Get that ball up, and the wind will take it out. 13th home run of the season for Colin Simpson.
What a really good job he does with this right here, staying on the fastball that was down and away. Simpson got off to a really, really bad start and has battled his way back, but he's a big old strong kid and just does a great job of staying with the fastball away and driving it out over the 350 sign in left field.
That was swinging a 60-degree wedge as far down as he hit it and as high as he lobbed it. He hit that thing as high as he did far, thanks in part to the wind. Now, make no mistake, he's got some power. Just look at it. But the wind with it going right to left, you get it up there and you're going to get some help. And that's put Oklahoma State on the board first.
Well, like I said, he's gotten off to a slow start. And nicknamed Tank. Understand why? They could call a bunch of these kids from OSU that.
Foul back off the bat of Trevor Boone. It's turned into one highlight tonight. That the sliding catch off the bat of Jake Gunther. The ball hit off the bat of Jake Gunther. And he hits it high, and that might be deep, and that ball is going to be caught at the wall. Oh, he gave it a ride. The Cowboy bullpen was ready to greet that baseball, and it's taken away by Josh Watson. Wow.
Well, I thought this was going to be back-to-back right here. Looked like he got good extension on it. Another one that was hit high in the air. And right about now, when you're watching the Cowboy bullpen, you're thinking that they're going to go get another ball. But, boy, a great play right there.
Foul back off the bat of Carson McCusker, who looks like he would be at home playing in Gallagher-Iba Arena at 6'7".
Now, seeing the big league, Simpson would have went over to him and said, dude, you got no pop. Got no pop in your bat at all.
He drives this to right field on a line. Kiefer started in, backtracks, and makes the catch. 2 away.
Well, both these teams are really good hitting teams, and right now neither one of these pitchers are missing many barrels. There's a lot of balls that are being squared up. That ball was hit hard on the line, just hit hard right at the right fielder.
Well, and Boone was a victim with his shot of the dimensions of the ballpark. It's a unique outfield fence, to say the least. And where that first home run was hit off of Simpson's bat, it just crawled over the wall at the 350 mark. The ball hit by Boone had to sail to the fence where it's carved back for the bullpen area. So that adds another 10 feet or so.
Yeah, it's a very unique ballpark. Got the high fence in right field, still got the angles down the line.
Way outside to Alex Garcia, who's now ahead in the count 3-0.
Tricky ballpark with the wind. You look at the right field flags right now. They're standing straight out. The left field flags are blowing straight down.
And a 4-pitch walk with 2 away. Next up, Jake Taylor. And Taylor takes a strike.
Yeah, this is something you don't see very often. We've seen two games in a row now where two teams, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, have used both their catchers in the game. Taylor is the other catcher to go along with Simpson. In the first game, you had Justin Mitchell was the DH, and Brady Lindsley was the catcher for Oklahoma, both being catchers. I personally like that.
Unite. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down to Jake Taylor. Swing and a miss. Chased 1 inside. Great pitch by Lodolo.
You can see all the qualities that everybody really likes about this kid. Big, tall, lanky guy. I faced a guy like that once or twice. But good arm, good late breaking ball. Competes on the mound. You don't see him get real rattled out there. He just gets the ball and throws another pitch.
Was the guy you faced 6'10"?
He was close to it, yeah. And by the time that he threw it, he was about 32 feet away.
The 1-2 right back at Lodolo. Ricochets off his glove. Henry's going to have to hurry. He does. And just in time to get Taylor at first. Great hustle by Henry to not give up, give it a shot, and get the out and retire the side. So the bottom half of the second inning comes to an end, but it began in spectacular fashion with Colin Simpson digging down deep, launching it high, and sending it out of the yard to give Oklahoma State a 1-0 lead on that solo home run after 2 innings of play. With Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. Welcome back to Oklahoma City. We go to the top of the third. The Cowboys lead the Horned Frogs by a score of 1-0. A solo home run off the bat of Colin Simpson, the difference right now. That came in the bottom half of the second. Just a few moments ago, Adam Oviedo leads it off for TCU in the top of the third. 9-1-2, the scheduled 3 for TCU. Oviedo at 286 on the season. 1 strike to him to start the inning.
Well, the production you get from him, too, at the bottom of the lineup. 3 home runs and 30 RBIs. That's turning the lineup over pretty darn good.
For a ball high. Well,
they're just another team, TCU. There's no easy outs. You know, you've got to make quality pitches to all 9 guys. There's another ball. It's hit hard, just right at second baseman.
Over to Morrow. Makes the play. 1 away. It's his 3rd assist already in the game. Top of the order at Hunter Wolf.
I don't care what they say either. When you come back to the dugout and say, hey, man, hit it good. Yeah, but I got nothing to show for it.
Wolf hits this one high, deep, on a line, and that's out of here. A home run in the corner. It disappeared into the darkness. And then you got the call from the third base umpire, and TCU is on the board with a home run off of the bat of Hunter Wolf. Here's a guy who missed 17 games during the course of the season. A couple of lower body injuries that he suffered through. Had an ankle injury against Baylor back on April 27th. Just one appearance since that injury.
Well, just like that, tie ball game. One swing of the bat, home run number 5 of the year for Wolf. This ball disappeared way back there into the darkness. This is not a team that will go away. TCU, it's a good offensive team. I said the games that them and Oklahoma State played, Oklahoma State rallied late in 2 games to win.
Way high from Scott. 1 ball, 1 strike. TCU contingent in just a little bit more now, a little more energy over on that side. Each team with a run, each team with 2 hits. Each team has scored on a solo home run. Here's the 1-1 offering, and that's high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Josh Watson's at the plate. He singled back in the first inning, got to second, was stranded there.
Parker Scott is not a guy that's going to be overpowering. He's going to be in the mid-80s with his fastball. He's a guy that's going to have to pitch down, hit his spots, throw some off-speed stuff behind in the count, like he did right there with the 2-1 changeup.
Brought it down to 77 miles an hour, and that had Watson chasing it. Footnote to that home run, there has been a power surge of sorts for this TCU offense. Going back to just prior to the Texas Tech series, the last 8 games, 77 hits, 12 home runs, a slugging percentage over that 8-game stretch of .502. It's an offense that has power. It's an offense that has speed. It's an offense that's good all around with 2 outs, with 2 strikes. Despite the injuries, it's still an offense that can win you games, and that's a great pitch by Parker Scott, catching the inside corner. Watson tried to coax ball 4. Back to the injuries again. Gunther was not expected to play. They penciled him in just moments before the start of the game. Among those who have missed games but are back to being active, Jared Jancic, the outstanding pitcher, he's missed 15 games. Kiefer 12. Oviedo's missed his share. Hunter Wolf, I mentioned 17 games. He was on the shelf. And then Gunther, those 3 games that he missed all came recently.
Well, that's half your starting lineup, obviously, except for Jancic. Guys that have missed a long portion of the season due to injury. And Jancic, a quality starter, right-hander, senior, has done a lot of good things for this TCU program. He's just now getting back.
Scott misses high to Gunther. Gunther back in the first inning. Line 1 into left center field, a ball that was kind of tapering away. And Boone went on a long run, went to his wallet, made a sliding catch for the out. That kept TCU off the board. Well, now they've adjusted their alignment for him here in the 3rd. They've got Boone positioned now over toward left center field.
Well, it's very unique. They've got him to pull in the infield. The third baseman, the shortstop, second baseman, everybody's playing him on the pull on the infield side, but they're shading him to the oppo side in the outfield, especially from center field, almost straight up in right field. But it's a very unique lineup. You know, straight up being what I mean by that, if you were standing in right field and you drew a straight line from third base to second base and then you drew it out to yourself, that would be straight up in the outfield.
Gunther fouls that away. The count's full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Gunther's .348 average, the best in the Frogs this season. They have 3 hitting over .300 on the year. And down goes Gunther on strikes. So that'll retire the side, but it's a productive inning for TCU. They get into the home run game as well. The solo shot by Hunter Wolf into the dark corner at the Bricktown Ballpark. And that lights up the scoreboard. 1-1 is our score through 2.5. The 2019 Phillips 66 Big 12 Conference Baseball Tournament Championships. This is day 1, and this is game 4. Winners earlier today, West Virginia defeated Kansas. It was Texas Tech getting a victory over Kansas State 7-4. And in the second bracket earlier tonight, Baylor got the victory over Oklahoma. 12-8, 7-4, and 8-2, the 3 scores prior to this game tonight. Here's a look at the bracket. Bracket 1, West Virginia's win over Kansas. The 4-5 matchup. Texas Tech defeated Kansas State. In those first 2 games, the winners got out to big early leads and then had to hold on and face situations in which they almost gave up those leads.
That'll be a good matchup, West Virginia and Texas Tech.
Yeah.
2 really good teams, 2 good pitching staffs.
And again, a lot on the line for those teams. Now, they're both going to the NCAA tournament. There's no question that West Virginia has done enough. They're wanting to host, and it would be the first time ever for West Virginia if they were to host a regional. Down on strikes is Cade Cavanis, and that's the first out of the bottom of the third. We'll go back to the top of the order in Houston Morrill. In the elimination game tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time, it'll be Kansas and Kansas State. They met just last weekend in Lawrence, and KU swept the Wildcats. Major revenge for Pete Hughes and his Wildcats. If they could knock the Jayhawks out of the Big 12 tournament, stay alive. Top of the order, and Houston Morrill's at the plate. He singled and was erased in a double play in the first inning.
I tell you, for a leadoff hitter, he's seen 2 pitches and swung at both of them. So I wouldn't say he's really working the count.
That missed the shoe tops. Morrill's a .274 hitter, 1 home run this season. Off speed, swing and a miss.
That's not fair right there. To throw that hard and then throw that pitch right there. And to do it with the same arm action, same delivery. Just one of the things that makes this kid really special. There's another one right there. Really good pitch.
Got him swinging, got him missing, got another strikeout, 2 away in the bottom of the third.
Well, he's certainly got the body type. Big, tall kid. There you see the late breaking ball that you try to throw at the right-hand hitter's back foot. It's a slider. You know, he's got a little bit of quirkiness in his delivery, too. He kind of comes at you with everything. A lot of good stuff. The biggest thing I like about him, he throws strikes. You know, he gets on the mound. All right, give me the next sign. Let's go.
Christian Funk's at the plate. He swings and misses. Well, Lodolo didn't have a strikeout in the first 2 innings. He's gone back-to-back to begin the third. I'm trying to strike out the side. 1-2 the count. Lodolo twice the Big 12 Conference Pitcher of the Week. 1st of April, and again the last weekend to wrap up the regular season. Got the final award. Ranked as high as the number 7 prospect on D1Baseball.com's prospect list. A ball and 2 strikes now.
Well, if he pitches that way that he has into the Big 12 tournament, and if they can get into the postseason, that number may go up.
Big difference from 7 to maybe 4.
Yeah.
Oh, he chased a pitch that was out of the zone and nowhere near. Missed badly by Christian Funk, and that does retire the side on strikeouts. So Lodolo, after giving up the home run to Colin Simpson to lead off the second, he's back in control of the Cowboy Bats. 1-1 is our score. Well, amongst the observers of college baseball and the projections for who's going to be in an NCAA regional, D1 Baseball has projected 4 Big 12 teams, with Oklahoma being the first team out. Hard to believe Oklahoma has been in the conversation most of the season as a team worthy of being an original. Skip Johnson will certainly tell you that his team has done everything to justify being in one. And you're talking about a conference that with marquee teams like Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and Baylor, and you've got to include West Virginia, maybe not a major team on the marquee, but they're certainly beginning to be in a starring role because people out in Morgantown are taking notice of what Randy Mazey has built over 7 years, and the consistent growth of that program, the consistent growth and success has put them among the elite programs in college baseball, and that's why they're solidly in and hoping for an opportunity to host and really showcase what they've got going on there in Morgantown.
Well, if they can go a long ways into this tournament, you mentioned it earlier, you know, alert the fire marshal in Morgantown.
Well, they said if they are able to host, and in talking to some of the West Virginia folks earlier today, if it's announced that they will host, they said tickets will be sold out before they go on sale. That's how eager people are to support that team and to show how much they believe in what Randy Mazey has done.
Well, it's great. It's great for college baseball, great for the Big 12. Because the Big 12 is, you know, the last couple of years, they've done an amazing job of putting teams in the tournament.
And 5 consecutive years with the national seed.
You know, I think right now, if somehow Tech and Oklahoma State can end up in the championship game, they're looking at national seeds. If West Virginia can get through there, they're certainly looking at hosting a regional. I'm still a little bit confused about the Oklahoma. I mean, for me, I think their resume is good. You know,
33 wins on the season.
You know, the loss today in the first round certainly didn't help things.
Henry grounds it to first, is beaten to the bag.
But they beat some quality teams this year. You know, they just, I think with the mark against them, like you mentioned earlier, maybe finishing 7th in the conference.
Well, there's no bigger cheerleader for Big 12 baseball than that man, Josh Holliday, the head coach at Oklahoma State. He's very proud of his team, but he is very provincial when it comes to supporting all of the teams in the Big 12. And here are the RPI numbers, and you've got, 6 teams, 7 teams in the top 61 with Kansas right on the outside of Texas at 61. And, of course, Texas did not qualify for Oklahoma City. A rough stretch the second half of the season, especially with injuries to a young team, and they just couldn't get any traction later on.
Yeah, we talked to Josh the other day. I mean, you know, very proud of what the Big 12 has been able to do this year, and rightfully so. Second best conference in baseball behind the Southeastern Conference. The Pac-12 has some good teams, but on a whole, they're not as good as the Big 12. You've got Stanford, UCLA, the #1 ranked team in the country.
But depth of conference.
Yeah, that would probably, you know, I mean, the SEC, they're just beating up on each other every weekend. And you could say the same thing for the Big 12. There was really no dominant team this year. But there's a bunch of really good teams.
And for Oklahoma, its resume is enhanced by the fact that this is where it resides, is in the #2 RPI league in the country. And it's not just Skip Johnson that tells you that. It's everybody else that's around. And, oh, by the way, you've got a team in TCU that enters as the #6 seed with a great reputation. And even though TCU started having those injury problems earlier in the season, there was enough respect that they remained a pretty consensus top 25 team through most of the season before falling out in mid-April. There's a ball that is hit into foul ground, and another nice sliding catch is made. This by the lanky 6'7" McCusker, who lopes in to make the grab, and that sets down Johnny Reiser.
You don't see too many 6'7" left fielders. Cusker does a nice job hitting the ground before he runs into the wall right there. That's a tough play. You got an outfielder on the run full speed, and you got to try to look down a couple times, find the wall, then look back up and find the ball. Really does a nice job right there.
Well, you've got the outfielder running at full speed and a wall that is not moving.
Yeah, the wall usually wins, even if you are 6'7". Now, he may put a dent in it, but the wall will probably win.
Here's Andrew Kiefer, who grounded out to lead off the second plate appearance of the night for the Horned Frog right fielder.
You know, a team we didn't even talk about there, Baylor. If Baylor finds himself playing on Sunday, they're hosting a regional. You know, they're projected to go to College Station right now, which would not be pleasant at all. Ooh, good pitch right there. Fastball just off the outside part of the plate. I thought they were going to get it more on the call than the check swing.
Jeff Henricks, the first base umpire, said he did not go around. A ball and 2 strikes to Kiefer. Ripped into the corner in right field, and that tails away from the right fielder, who's got to try and track it down from underneath the wall. Kiefer has gone to second, thought about third. Second thought stays there at second base.
Yeah, we had a play like that in the first game with Downey down the right field line, and there's a little notch that just sticks out right there, the stands. If you haven't played here a lot, you know, learning to play the angles of these walls, the only thing that you're going to have is, you know, maybe a couple of times you hit some fly balls down there early before the game just to see how the ball reacts off the wall. But really nice job of hitting, staying with the fastball away right there, and then slams on the brake. You don't want to make the third out at third base. And here we go. We got Danny Weed out on the field.
Danny Weed's probably seen more playing time on the field than many of the players. He's been out there so often checking guys out. Kiefer missed 12 games earlier this season from the end of March to mid-April because of an ankle injury. Not sure what.
My boy Weedy running off the field, though.
Well, he's still healthy. The rest of the team may not be 100%, but he is.
That's nice. He's got a nice gait working there, too. What a great man.
So Kiefer stays in the game. He's out at second base. 2 away for Zach Humphreys. Humphreys was robbed by the second baseman Morrill in the second inning.
That's another ball that was hit hard off Parker Scott. There's been a lot of balls so far early in this game that have been barreled up really nice. He's had some good defensive plays behind him. TCU could have a couple more runs on the board already.
One ball, no strikes. Humphreys at 264 holds off the breaking pitch. It settles in for a strike. 1-1.
And that's what Scott's got to do to be effective right there. He's got to be able to throw his changeup, breaking ball behind in the count. He's another guy. He's not going to overpower guys trying to stand out there and throw fastballs by him when he's behind in the count. So he's got to be able to pitch with his soft stuff.
A bit high, a bit away, 2-1.
There's a lot of guys in the big leagues that pitch for a long time doing just, I mean, Jamie Moyer, is he still pitching? He didn't throw as hard as Parker does, but he located everything and he just pitched.
What was the line on Jamie Moyer? Couldn't throw hard enough to break a pane of glass, but could break the hearts of the hitters that he faced. Something along those lines.
It was just frustrating. Well, Tommy John was the same way. You know, he threw an 83, 84 mile an hour sinker all night long. And at the end of the night, you're 0 for 4 and going, why didn't I just try to hit him over the second baseman's head?
This ball driven to center field. Boone racing back, and he tracks it down and makes another nice catch.
Well, it's another ball that was hit hard, though, but defensively, Oklahoma State has really made some nice plays. That's a second play for Boone in center field.
Terrific defense tonight behind Parker Scott. And as we go to the bottom half of the fourth inning, this game is still tied at a home run apiece. Jersey hanging on him. 62 miles. 1-1 is our score. TCU and Oklahoma State. We go to the bottom half of the fourth inning. We expected a great game between these two. You've got Nick Lodolo on the mound for the Horned Frogs in a must-win situation for their NCAA tournament hopes. A team that has been riddled with injuries all season long. And when you got to have a win, pretty good to have the top prospect in the Big 12 going to the hill. We saw Josh Young earlier today. He had a great game. Shea Langoliers homered in the opening game for Baylor. Alex Manoah did not pitch today for West Virginia, but expect to see him tomorrow in their matchup with Texas Tech.
There's a bunch of organizations right now that just take that whole list and say, I'm done with the draft. You guys can have the rest.
Right.
You know, once again, for a kid to be able to throw that hard, and then he does that right there, throws the breaking ball behind in the count. Boy, it just makes it really tough. Hitting's tough enough, but whenever they do that, they're making it exceptionally tough.
Andrew Navigado is at the plate for Oklahoma State. His average 287, an impressive 12 home runs on the year, 35 runs driven in.
Yeah, he has really solidified that shortstop position. Played good defensively, offensively. He's just been wonderful. Another one of those Cowboys double figures and home runs.
Oklahoma State as a team has hit 78 home runs this season. Their opponents just 25. And he chased one, might have been a bit out of the zone. Lodolo gets another strikeout.
But that is their issue, though, right there. That's 4 strikeouts in a row. They are a team that will swing and miss a lot.
Well,
492 times of them on the year.
We're closing in on 500 Ks this year. Here's Colin Simpson, who hit the home run earlier. He takes a strike. Nothing in one.
But that's, I mean, that's a chance that you're going to take. If you're going to be a home run hitting team, you're going to have big swings. And there's going to be nights where you're going to go out and you're going to hit 5, 6, 7 home runs.
And this is an Oklahoma.
Boone this year's hit 3 home runs, twice in a game? 3 home runs in a game, twice? That's a really good year for some people.
Well, it just seems fitting in the final year of Allie P. Reynolds Stadium that you have a throwback Cowboy team. Like the days back with Pete and Caviglia and Robert Ventura and, you know, guys like that were launching them out of the yard at 20, 30,
here's
40
an
a year.
interesting shift right here. They just took the third baseman and put him behind second base.
And Lodolo goes low and away.
Shepard is now playing short center.
In the softball leagues, we call that a rover.
Yeah, you look at this.
There's the alignment.
Really, and he hit a home run to the opposite field last time.
The gate's wide open down the line at third, and Simpson swings and misses. That's 5 strikeouts in a row for Lodolo.
And that's one of the things that you and George were talking about earlier in the day, that they're wanting to limit the amount of shifts in Major League Baseball. And I couldn't agree with George more. Just leave the game alone. Just let them play.
Alex Manoah, unanimous selection as the Big 12 Conference Pitcher of the Year. Led the league with 125 strikeouts, 12 more than the man on the mound right now, Nick Lodolo of TCU. Yeah, it just, you know, I get that analytics are here to stay, and they come up with new things, it seems like, every year. But it's almost made the game robotic. It's just too much thinking and less playing. And
I think there's some of them from the scouting side that's good, like the shift that was just put on right there. You know, if a guy's going to pull the ball biggest majority of the time, okay, that's fine. That's just scouting. But at the end of the day, it just basically comes down to that guy on the mound facing this guy at the plate. It's a one-on-one battle.
Right.
And you throw all the numbers out the window. But I don't understand why they want 6 punch-outs in a row. I don't understand why, they want to talk about clocks.
Well, Parker Scott has been getting hit hard by these TCU bats. He's only given up 1 run and just 3 hits to this point. But the Oklahoma State bullpen is starting to get just a bit busy. Meanwhile, the TCU side, they're pretty content with what Nick Lodolo has done, retiring 6 in a row via the strikeout. But during the last break between innings, TCU sent a battalion of pitchers down toward their bullpen, although many have come back.
Well, Parker Scott's not thrown a lot of innings on the year. 31 innings on the year. It's not a lot. Has not started a lot of games, so maybe Oklahoma State's feeling that, you know, he's getting at the end of the rope right now and just getting some guys up in the bullpen just to get ready. You know, he's not pitched badly. There's been some balls hit hard. His defense has made some nice plays behind him, but hasn't walked anybody.
Leading it off is Connor Shepard.
Take that back. He's walked 1 guy.
Hit hard on the ground. Another good play made by Houston Morrill, the Cowboys' second baseman. He's been involved a lot tonight.
Yeah, he's got some nice range out there. He plays a little bit deeper. You see him standing on the grass a lot of times. He's not on the infield dirt. But has made some nice plays. That play going to his left right there.
Gets the first out of the inning. Next up, Adam Oviedo, who grounded out to Morrill. He led off the third. Just his second plate appearance. Oviedo at 284. Good numbers in the 9 spot. After him, we go back to the top of the order and Hunter Wolf. Three hits in the game for TCU, just 2 hits for that powerful Oklahoma State lineup. TCU does have a better season average. This ball is hit high in the air, center field. Boone dances around and finally settles underneath it. TCU on the season hit 291. That's good for 3rd in the league. Oklahoma State 275. Boone looks like it's been somewhat of an adventure for him out there in center field tonight. He's come through, though.
Well, there's still some wind blowing. These balls get up above the roof line. The wind's going to play some tricks with it out there.
Hunter Wolf on the ground to the shortstop, Navigado. Well, that's a pretty easy innings worth of work for Parker Scott. TCU goes in order. Can't break the tie, so we're tied at 1 through 4.5. Nick Lodolo goes back out there to work for TCU, and he has settled in the last 2 innings. 6 consecutive strikeouts. And down go the Cowboys. Oklahoma State does have a run on the board. A solo home brought it back.
Well, there was one common theme besides the strikeouts, that none of those pitches were in the middle of the plate. The breaking ball was down, sharp. There's another one. Fastball down and away. He's just making quality pitch after quality pitch.
Carson McCusker is at the plate. And Lodolo comes inside and spins him around. 94 miles an hour, the reading on that pitch.
That might have been one of those take one for the squad just to break the streak. You got an 0-2 count on you.
The 1-2. Fisted foul.
Well, we've had some of that. We had a night against Chuck Finley, pitch for Anaheim, or they were the California Angels at the time. Struck out 16 of us in Detroit. We didn't have a chance. But the way this crazy game of baseball is, we faced him. There's another one. That's 7 punch outs in a row. Faced him 2 weeks later. Scored 10 runs off of him. It's a crazy game. But he was another one. Big, tall left-hander, threw hard, split finger.
Alex Garcia stands in. 7 consecutive strikeouts. Nick Lodolo has started to take control of this game. Needs some help offensively, though. His Horned Frog teammates have hit the ball hard, but right at the Cowboys.
We have to check the record books for consecutive strikeouts in the Big 12 tournament. Heck, in a Big 12 game. Regular season game in a row. But once they're all quality pitches. I mean, he's not throwing anything in the middle of the plate. There's another breaking ball that's just that late sharp slider that he's throwing right at the back foot of the right-handed hitters. Cowboy hitters are just swinging right over the top of it.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 away, bottom of the 5th. Garcia gets enough, fouls it back. You'll see a 1-2 offering again. Well, Lodolo was drafted back in 2016. Drafted with the 41st pick overall by the Pittsburgh Pirates, but elected not to sign and go to TCU instead. And down goes Alex Garcia. That's 8 consecutive strikeouts.
It's just another pitch right here. There's the breaking ball again, right at the back foot of the right-hand hitter. Ball's down, swing right over the top of it. Or somebody in the Cowboy dugout's got to go over and take the bats and throw them down the tunnel or something. Try to wake them up.
There's a bouncer out to Austin Henry, and the second baseman plays it in shallow right. Wakes up the defense just a little bit, so the strikeout string has come to an end. But for the 3rd consecutive inning, Nick Lodolo has set the Cowboys down in order, 3 up, 3 down. And that retires the side, and we remain tied through 5. Here come the Horned Frogs in the 6th. 1-1 the score. To the top of the 6th we go. 3 hits in the game for TCU, 2 hits in the game for Oklahoma State. Each team got on the board with a solo home run. It was Colin Simpson who hit his. He went down deep and got it high. Used the wind and got it out of here. The solo shot led off the 2nd, gave Oklahoma State the lead. And then Hunter Wolf went yard for TCU with a solo shot with 1 out in the 3rd. Just 5 hits between these two. Parker Scott continues to work for Oklahoma State. He's had some great defense behind him. TCU has hit the ball hard right at the Cowboys. They've also turned in some fantastic defensive plays. Meanwhile, on the other side, Nick Lodolo at times has had his defense fall asleep because he recorded 7 consecutive strikeouts at one point, or was it 8 consecutive strikeouts? Yeah, 8.
Yeah, let somebody
the ground ball.
Let somebody else play.
Right. That ball is belted into center field. But Josh Watson has recorded his second hit of the night.
Well, this ball was hit hard right back up the box. Like it was a pitch that Scott got up and out over the plate just a little bit. See the delivery here. Yeah, that ball's about belt high and it just smoked into center field.
So Gunther stands in. And a throw to first.
Going in the middle of the lineup, 6th inning. We'll see what Jim Schlossnagle decides to do right here. You got your number 3 hole hitter up. Obviously a low-scoring game. See if he squares around to try to sacrifice the runner over.
Strike taken by Gunther.
That would be a no.
You know, Jim Schlossnagle would obviously love to have his team with the kind of resume and sense of security that Randy Mazey and Tim Tadlock, Steve Rodriguez have, that their teams are going to go to the NCAA regional. But having been around him for so many years, I think this is an opportunity that as a coach he is relishing to see the kind of character that his team has coming into this situation. They need to win. They know it. How will his team respond? And I think he has a hunch it's going to be pretty positive.
Well, talking to him the other day, he said, he's gotten to the point he doesn't know whether to bark at him anymore. He doesn't know whether to pat him on the back anymore. And he's just trying to, encourage him. And he said one thing that his kids have done is played hard every game. And that's one thing that a TCU team will always do. The most uncommon, or the uncommon thing for them is beating themselves.
Yeah, the execution.
Yeah, that's one thing that you do not see a Schlossnagle team do. So that's got to be really frustrating for him.
He said work ethic, leadership, character, that has not been an issue with this team. And even when they've been down, he hasn't had to worry about that.
Yeah, it's just been the execution at times.
And he's had to rebuild his roster in a way that is not typical for TCU. He's been able to sign recruits and bring in recruits and keep them in the fold. But they've lost 10 players over the last 2 years?
To the draft.
Highly regarded prospects to the draft. You go back, it's been 5 more than that. Almost 10 years ago, Matt Perk was the #1 pick, 14th overall. Turned down professional baseball, went to TCU, led them to the College World Series, had that unbeaten freshman season. Swing and a miss by Gunther at a high fastball. And he sets down first out of the inning.
Well, what he's been able to do is he's been able, a kid like Lodolo, that turns down a significant amount of money to come to school.
Right.
And he said the other day where he's starting to, the things are changing, is he's starting to lose those kids just a little bit more.
Yeah. And so more junior college players.
That's where he's had to make the adjustments in his recruiting.
More junior college transfers than ever before. And a toss over to first base. Watson is still over there. Austin Henry's going to hit next. Watson is 2 for 3 with 2 base hits. He reached second in the first inning and was stranded there. TCU has left 3 on through 5. Henry tonight has walked, and he grounded out to first. Joe's bunt.
And like he said the other day, going the junior college route at times can be really good because you can get some good quality players, but you can also get some good or some bad habits that come with those good players that they're not accustomed to having here.
Yeah, you come to TCU, you learn the TCU way, you get into the system and understand the culture, and you become a part of it.
You learn how to play the game right.
Right, yeah. Watson is chased back again. So this has been a season really unlike any other for Jim Schlossnagle. And here they are in a 1-1 game with one of the best teams in the country in Oklahoma State. Potential national seeded team that wants to win, to play as much baseball as possible at Allie P. Reynolds Stadium before they close the door. That beautiful ballpark. What, $70 million?
I don't know. I drove by there the other day, and it's going to be fabulous. I mean, just the ballpark, when you drive up on it, it just sits there, and it's just what a wonderful place that they're going to have to play in.
Now my question, and I think I did ask you this the other day, and that is relay the conversation, will they have to recruit differently? Is that ballpark going to be a different style of place to play than what they've become accustomed to over the several decades at Allie Reynolds?
Well, I think talking to Josh, it's kind of the wait and see how the ball is going to react. Now, the field is going to set the same way, like the ballpark here, where it sets facing the northeast, so you get the predominant south wind blowing out to left field. But he said it's more of a wait and see to see how the ball is going to react, because the field itself actually sets further down in the ground than does Allie P. You know, obviously the stands are going to be bigger. So is that going to block some of the wind, block some of the carry? You know, how is it going to react when it blows over the roof? Is it going to be one of those deals that, you know, brings the ball back to the first base side? You know, a lot of, like down in Texas, the ballpark down in Texas at Arlington, you wanted to see a 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight in because the wind blew right over the roof, and it just sucked it back out to right field.
A vortex.
Yeah.
Henry swings and misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. One away.
Another good job by Scott right there, changing speeds. I like what he's doing, too. He's changing his delivery. He's giving Watson a different look over there. One time he's picking his leg up. Next time he's slide stepping. So you never really for sure as a base runner what you're going to get. Neither one of these teams do a lot of running, but they're both capable of running.
Fouled away, right side. And that reaches the seats. Count holds it 2-2 to Austin Henry. He's out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Redshirt junior. Played a couple of years at Walters State College. He and Hunter Wolf teammates prior to coming to TCU together. Another throw to first. That time a little more urgency and seriousness to it.
Yeah, if that ball's thrown up the line just a little bit more into the base runner, they got a chance. The ball was thrown just a little bit too much to the glove side of the first baseman, so he had to reach around too far to make the tag.
Watson has 9 stolen bases and 11 attempts. This ball is hit well by Henry, left center field. Boone has caught everything out there that's come his way. And he makes another play. Ran a long way to get there. Made it worth his while. Now, another ball hit well.
Yeah, and if we're playing at Allie P, that ball's got a chance to go. He had probably the greatest college baseball player. Well, not probably. He was. Pete Incaviglia play there. Robin Ventura play there. I mean, just the list of guys that played there just goes on and on. I think Incavilla's last year there, he had what, 48
or 49, yeah.
Had 140 some runs driven in.
Yeah.
Pretty good couple years. In 3 months.
Here's Johnny Reiser. There goes Watson. Kind of a delayed steal. And it's the shortstop Navigado playing it off a hop and tagging the runner, and that retires the side.
Yeah, it was a nice job by Simpson right there, not giving up on the play because it was a delayed steal. Got the left-hand hitter up. You get blocked a little bit from the catcher. You see him come up right here, takes a look, sets his feet. Good strong throw, tag. We move on to the next inning.
Well, we're not quite ready to play baseball just yet because TCU has appealed that last play, the stolen base attempt by Josh Watson. We saw a replay as we went to break, and it looked as though it was what we had seen, that Simpson and Navigado teamed up to tag out the runner Watson. The officials took a look at it. We'll take a look at it again, but it's a great throw by Simpson. Navigado waits. The ball definitely beat the runner. And there's the tag, and there's the touch. And the verdict upon looking at it, the referee, the officials have come back and said,
I was going to say, from that angle there, there's really, he's out.
Yeah.
The only question would have been, when you see a bunch of the ball in his glove, is whether he juggled it or not.
So TCU loses the appeal. Umpiring crew for this final game of the day. Michael Banks at home plate. Jeff Hendricks, you saw him a moment ago. Mike Morris, Casey Moser. A lot of the guys you're seeing in Oklahoma City this weekend have gotten the call to go to Omaha for the College World Series. Jeff Hendricks among them.
Yeah, it's been really good crews. A good umpire is a guy you never see. Talked about it a little bit in the first game that we did about strike zone as a hitter. You knew when those guys walked out of the tunnel what kind of strike zone you were going to have that night. And as long as they're consistent with it, I got no problem with it. If it's a wide zone, okay, be consistent.
Well, Nick Lodolo is taking advantage of the strike zone. Look at that, 8 consecutive strikeouts earlier in the game. That's a new career record for him. He struck out 5 straight Red Raiders back on May 16th. So now we're ready to go. Bottom of the 6th, finally underway. 1-1 is our score. Each team with a solo home run, accounting for their respective scores. TCU does have 4 hits in the game. Oklahoma State just 2 hits to this point. And a lot of strikeouts.
They have not had very many comfortable at-bats at all. TCU's hit a lot of balls hard. Oklahoma State's made some nice defensive plays for them, but OSU has not had. This should be interesting.
High chopper out to short. The long throw is not in time. Some base hit for Cade Cavanis, hitting in the 9 spot. So the leadoff man in the 6th is aboard.
That ball hit off home plate. To go that high in the air, it had to hit off home plate. Yeah, that ball went straight down off home plate. Cavanis, a big guy, really hustles down the line, can run well. Hey, right now you take them any way you can get them. You've had a tough time putting balls in play, so might as well try that approach.
Showing bunt. Houston Morrill, who's got a base hit. He led off the game with a bloop single to center field. That was the first hit. The second was Simpson's home run. And that high chopper off the plate by Cavanis is the 3rd hit of the game for Oklahoma State.
Well, I would fully expect to see him bunting all the way through, and he doesn't.
If you're Oklahoma State, you've got a tradition and a reputation to uphold that goes back decades. You might flirt with small ball, but you're not going to commit to it.
Well, at this stage of the game, it's the bottom of the 6th. Obviously, you're having a hard time having quality at bats. You need to get some guys into scoring position. Now, you might put on a hit and run right here. They showed the sacrifice. They're back to it. Just not able to get it done.
That's punched foul.
So now you're behind again, 1 and 2, and you're battling against a guy who's basically struck out everybody in the dugout tonight.
So with that foul ball, the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Morrill at 272 on the season. Did he check his swing? Pitch is inside. No appeal. And the count moves to 2-2.
It's too late now. The TCU dugout's trying to get them to appeal, and it's too late. That's got to be immediate. You know, as a catcher, there any doubt at all, point.
Yeah. Just a bit low. So it's full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody down. A runner at first base. That's Cade Cabanis.
3-2. Let's see what Josh does. Nobody out. See if he starts the runner right here. Cabanis has got to respect the left-hander. He's shortened up his lead just a little bit.
And Lodolo misses low and in. So this Oklahoma State offense that has struggled tonight opens up the 6th by getting the first 2 men on. One with a chopper that turns into a hit and a walk to Morrill, and here comes Christian Funk. So second walk issued by Lodolo tonight. The other being Garcia in the second. And Garcia, after walking, is the lone man left on base at this point in the game for Oklahoma State.
Well, now you have a true sacrifice situation, left on left. See TCU expecting it with a third baseman, first baseman, both playing in on the corners.
Funk on the season has 1 sacrifice. Oklahoma State as a team, 24 sacrifice hits this year. Kurt Sarloos coming out to visit with Lodolo and the rest of the Horned Frog infield.
Well, let's give Lodolo a little bit of a breather, but he wants to make sure that his bunt coverage, everybody is on the same page with their bunt coverage. First baseman charging hard from that side. Third baseman, you know, he's probably more in a read situation, see what the ball's going to do. Ideally, you want the third baseman to handle the ball right here. Make him make a decision on whether to come and get it or not.
So also gives an opportunity for Josh Holliday to talk it over with Funk.
It reinforces, you know, with Josh where he wants the ball bunted, if he still wants him bunting right here. You know, ideally in this situation, you want the third baseman handling the baseball. Now you have a left-handed pitcher on the mound, so that is going to help as far as him getting off the mound and having an easier throw to third base. So just making sure that the communication between third baseman and Lodolo is good. You already see the first baseman creeping in. They got a slide. They're going to try to slash right there.
Funk pulled it back. Lodolo missed. 2 balls and no strikes.
Now he may give him 1 pitch right here with the count being 2-0 to get a fastball and try to drive it somewhere, because this is a plus hitters count. The field has obviously gotten bigger because you've got everybody crashing.
2 balls, no strikes. It's a 1-1 game. Funk shows bunt again and takes a strike this time, and that moves the count to 2-1. Now, when you say it's a plus hitters count, what do you mean by that?
2-0, 3-0, 3-1 counts, where you basically know what you're going to get. You're going to get a fastball.
Right. Right now, 2-1. He shows bunt again, and Lodolo paints the black and gets the call.
You know, that's a tough pitch right there.
The runner at second is Cabanis. Chopped one off the plate. Took a while to come down. He beat out the throw. Behind him, Houston Morrill, who walked. The 2-2. Off the end of the bat. Dribbles to the Cowboys, and will do it again.
You know, these are these little things that when you start getting into postseason play and you're playing these good quality teams, and TCU is a good quality team, but you got to do the little things, the execution things, the situational hitting. You know, you may not go out and blow everybody out 10-0 every night. You may have to win a game 2-1. And little things like getting a sacrifice bunt down are the things that you're going to have to do to be successful.
Punched him out. No argument from Funk.
Yeah, just a fastball caught him looking right there like he was looking for something off speed.
9th strikeout of the game. It just whipped past the hitter.
Yeah, that's just a fastball right there. The way he reacted, like he was looking for something soft. Looking for the breaking ball. And when you get into that situation with 2 strikes, as hard as he throws, you got to set fastball, try to stay in the middle of the field with it. That'll delay the breaking ball just a little bit so you can stay on it. But you just can't react to fastball sitting on something soft.
One away for Andrew Navigato. He drills this left center field. That's going to get to the outfield quickly. It's going to score a run, maybe 2. The throw comes to second off the glove of Henry. And with 1 away, Navigato delivers a double that drives in the go-ahead run.
We've got a first ball fastball, one of the few balls that Lodato has left in the middle of the plate. Right down the middle, and he didn't miss it right there. And here's where, if you get the sacrifice down, that's 2 runs instead of just scoring the 1.
That's Cabanis that scores. And remember, he got on, slamming one right down on the top of home plate. A high arcer that everybody had to wait for it to come down. But kind of a quirky way to begin the inning. But Oklahoma State takes advantage and regains the lead.
And here's where, once again, situational hitting, young players. Simpson's been in this situation a lot of time. A simple ground ball in the middle of the field right here scores a run.
Waved at by Simpson.
Yeah, chase the breaking ball in the dirt right there. They've got the right hand hitting Boone standing on deck. Simpson's already hit 1 home run tonight. They do have a base open.
Simpson struck out in the 4th. Now behind 1 and 2 here in the 6th.
Well, just another breaking ball he throws down and away from him. He's got to be tough to pick up on left-handers. He throws it a little bit 3/4.
Way outside. Nice job by Humphreys, the catcher. Oh, look, that strikeout to Christian Funk earlier. Just to whip that third strike past him. He had no chance. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 in scoring position for Oklahoma State. What will they do with their pitching when we get to the 7th? Will we see Parker Scott, or will the bullpen get involved? That's off speed outside. And we're full. First base is open.
Well, you've thrown him 5 breaking balls in a row. There's no reason not to throw him number 6. Once again, you got the base open, even though you do have a right-handed hitter standing on deck.
He went with the fastball. It's hit in the air. This to right field should be deep enough to bring in the runner from third. The throw comes to second, and Oklahoma State has taken a 2-run lead on the sacrifice fly off the bat of Colin Simpson, who collects his second RBI.
Great piece of hitting right there. Just being able to put the ball in play, hits it deep enough to right field to be able to get the sac fly.
That's Morrill that scores from third.
This did look like a fastball that just caught too much of the plate. He'd thrown him 5 breaking balls in a row. And it's just deep enough to where OSU's able to score another run. A big run. 2 runs in this game lead is a big lead.
4 hits in the game now for Oklahoma State. Both teams with 4, but it's a 3-1 lead now for OSU. Seeded number 3 in this tournament bracket. 6-seeded TCU. The winner moves on to take on Baylor. The loser in an elimination game with Oklahoma. Fouled back. Boone tonight went deep to left field, but did not leave the yard. Josh Watson caught it at the top of the fence at the Cowboy bullpen. Struck out looking in the 4th. This one is launched. This is deep. This is to left, and this ball is out of here.
Well, he may not have got the first one, but he certainly got this one. This ball hit way over the Cowboy bullpen.
It drives in Navigado and opens up a 5-1 Cowboy lead.
Yeah, just once again, it's 2 fastballs in this inning that he just left right in the middle of the plate and a little bit up, and Boone hammered this ball.
It's almost the exact same spot that he hit one back in the 2nd inning, the one that was caught at the fence.
Yeah, but about 60 feet further.
Exactly. But it cleared the fence right about the same spot that Watson caught the other one. So the line was the same. Yeah, that was impressive. You ought to be impressed with that shot, Trevor.
Well, there's been some big home runs hit today.
Lodolo outside to Carson McCusker.
It's great to see, too, because about, 5 years ago, there was no home runs being hit.
Yeah.
They had deadened the bats so much. Now they put a little life back into them and brought the home run element back into the game.
It seems a little more natural now. It got too cartoonish. That was the reason for the deadening of the bats. I mean, what was it, that College World Championship game, or College World Series Championship game? What was the final score, like 21-14 or something like that? And everybody said, all right, we got to do something about this. This is too video game like. Well, over time, they went to the deadened bat.
And they were doing it too because of the velocity in which the ball was coming off the bat and pitcher safety.
No, absolutely. McCusker goes down. He strikes out for the 2nd time, but Oklahoma State has done some serious damage in the home half of the 6th. The Cowboys score 4 runs on 3 hits. There was a sacrifice fly. They didn't leave anybody. And Oklahoma State scores 4 runs in that frame to open up a 5-1 advantage as we go to the 7th. Challenging assignment for Parker Scott. Go out there and match Nick Lodolo. And even though TCU hit the ball hard at times, he utilized his defense behind him. And Scott ends up working 6 innings, gave up 4 hits. The earned run was the home run. And he exits the game now. So his day is done, and Logan Craig will get the ball.
Yeah, really good line from Scott right there. Did an outstanding job. Hands it over to the bullpen. Craig's numbers on the year, 3-3. He's got 4 starts out of the 20 appearances. .58 ERA, 33 innings, 2/3 pitched. 27 strikeouts, 18 walks. That's a little bit of a higher ratio than we've seen most of the day as far as the strikeouts to walks, but good hard sinker, late slider. There you see it right there, 94 miles an hour.
Leading it off for TCU is Johnny Reiser. 5, 6, and 7, the scheduled 3 for the Horned Frogs, who now need to find some offense. That has not been their issue this season. Again, they can score runs in a number of ways. They can go with a long ball, small ball. They've got good speed, excellent with 2 strikes, good with 2 outs. But can they get the job done in the final 3 innings of this one?
And only 1 run so far, and you go back to that first inning. 2 really good plays by Oklahoma State's defense. That's 2 runs at least. The diving play by Boone in center. Then Funk with the diving play at third to end the inning. A couple of those balls fall, and they may have 2, 3, 4 runs on the board.
The 2-2 to Reiser. And that is just wide of the line, foul. Five runs on 5 hits, no errors for Oklahoma State, the number 3 seed, 1-4-0 for TCU. Bragg on the hill facing Johnny Reiser. That's high, and the count's full. Oklahoma State 32-17 on the season, 14-9 in conference play. They won 19 games this season at Allie Reynolds Stadium. They scored first in this game, and on the season when they do score the first run, that ball is fouled hard into the seats. Well, pay attention when you come to the yard. It's a great place to hang out and people watch, but you gotta watch what's going on. Oh, scary.
Guys looking around like, why didn't you catch that?
But back to it, Oklahoma State 22-7 this season when scoring first. Off the glove of the third baseman and into shallow left. It's a big turn by Reiser. And now he's got to hustle back to the bag. The tag is applied. Oh, is that a big base running mistake by TCU? Reiser would have been better off to just keep going once he made the big turn.
Well, you love the aggressiveness of it. You don't like the indecision right there. It's either you got to go, but you can't get out there in a nowhere land, and especially right now where you're down by 4 runs in the top of the 7th inning. You need base runners. There's really nowhere to go right there. It's just one of those little mistakes that it's like not catching a ground ball. Bad base running. That'll get you beat too.
Yeah, that might be a new one for Jim Slosnickel to scratch his head about.
No, I was watching him down here in the dugout, and he didn't move. I don't know if he's come to expect it or what, but there was just no reaction from him. Like I said, you have to like the aggressiveness of it, wanting to try to take the extra base. But at this point in the game, you've got to be sensible and understand that you need base runners.
I thought when he rounded first that he had committed to second.
Well, I did too. And that's, when you get out there and you get in that nowhere land. Really, what Gover overlooked right there is a great heads-up play by the second baseman to stay engaged in the game, make a good strong throw to get him.
Navigado went out and retrieved the loose ball in shallow left. Morrill, the second baseman. After the riser play, Kiefer went down on strikes at the plate. Now Zach Humphreys, he bunts foul. The count goes to 2 strikes, 2 away. That play at first, you get the hit that you needed, and in just a matter of a few seconds, it's just completely deflating and demoralizing. And that at bat by Kiefer seemed to have lost a little morale as he went down on strikes. Now Humphreys.
That's just one of those plays. You give up 4 runs in the bottom half of the inning. You come out, you get a base hit, and then you make a base running blunder, and it just takes all the momentum that you were trying to gain away.
Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Baylor is waiting for the winner. That's high.
I think you can see why the numbers with the strikeouts and the base on balls are pretty close. You know, he's gone to 2 hitters in this inning, 3-2 counts. He's got a good arm. Good fastball right there, gets the hitter, but just seems like the plate has a little tendency to move around on him.
Greg gets back-to-back strikeouts to close out, and there's that relay from Morrill to Garcia, and you can see the heads hung low for TCU. A big mistake cost them an opportunity. Oklahoma State got on the board in the 2nd inning, a solo home run off the bat of Colin Simpson. They didn't manage much offense off Nick Lodolo through 5 innings. At one point, Lodolo had 8 consecutive strikeouts, but in the 6th, Kate Cavanis and our base hit to lead things off. Morrill walked, Christian Funk struck out, but then Navigado doubled. Trevor Boone launched a 2-run home run. Nick Lodolo had 63 pitches through the first 5 innings of the game. He threw 30 in the 6th inning alone. The Horned Frog lefty is still out there facing Alex Garcia. This ball's hit well to left field. Watson is there, and there's one away.
It looked like Garcia got that ball just a little bit off the end of the bat. Wasn't quite able to square it up. That is a lot of pitching, though, for Lodolo. 30 pitches in an inning.
Now Jake Taylor in the DH role.
He's still at 93 miles an hour, though, here in the bottom half of the 7th inning.
One ball and 1 strike.
Now you have to wonder if it stays like this as he pitched his last game for TCU. If they're not able to go on, because he's, you know, this is a situation where they're going to have to get a lot deeper in the tournament at this stage to bring him back.
Maybe to Sunday.
Yeah. One thing I thought was really cool about talking to Coach Losnagel the other day was them being aware of pitch counts and what it does to kids' arms and trying to protect these kids, because they understand that, especially a kid like this has got a future at the next level. You know, they want to win now, but they also with the understanding that, you know, they need to take care of these guys.
Well, and if you don't, that becomes part of the conversation in recruiting against you. If you use and abuse, and I mean that in a relative term to the game of baseball, pitchers and players in what you ask them to do. But if you take care of them, push them, but take care of them in the process, you know, those are the kind of guys and programs that moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas want to release their child to.
Well, they're developing them. You know, they're not only making them better when they got on campus and better for their program, but they're giving each one of these kids an opportunity to go to the next level and succeed.
Two outs in the inning. It's a 5-1 lead for Oklahoma State. That strikeout to Jake Taylor. Now everybody in the Oklahoma State lineup has struck out at least once.
A lot of K's over here on my scorecard.
But that goes in line. We've talked about it in the build-up in our conversations leading into what Oklahoma State is all about. They'll hit a lot of home runs, and they have tonight. They've played the long ball. A home run by Simpson, the 2-run shot by Boone. A couple other balls hit pretty deep. Boone had one that was robbed at the fence, but they will also strike out a lot.
And that's what makes them dangerous. From both sides. I mean, up and down their lineup, they have a 3-run home run just waiting with one swing of the bat.
And Cavanis goes down for the second time on strikes. It's the fourth time in this game that OSU has gone 3 up and 3 down. Yet with just 5 hits in this game, the Cowboys have a 4-run advantage on TCU as we go to the 8th. 5-1 the score. Pretty tight line score through the first 5. But that 4 spot for Oklahoma State has given them the 4-run advantage right now. Nick Lodolo has pitched well, but he's had 1 bad inning, and that was the 6th. Oklahoma State scored 4 runs on 3 hits. Now Connor Shepard stands in and leads it off for TCU. One ball and 1 strike. Shepard was a late game hero against Kansas on May 10th when he hit a walk-off home run.
A good pitch right there. Change up. Able to change speeds on him. 82 miles an hour from the previous pitch. A 93 mile an hour sinking fastball. I've always thought that was the most deceiving pitch to hit, was the straight change. Pitchers keep the same arm action on, especially guys who throw 4-seamers, then throw like a little circle change. The ball comes out with the same rotation on it. The speed's usually about 10 to 12 miles an hour difference.
How quickly do you pick up visually the 4-seam versus the 2-seam? Are you looking at the ball? Is there a release point that something that the pitcher does?
My thought was always, when the pitcher was in their windup, I'm looking at their glove first. Whatever they do with their glove, with the ball in their glove, see if they might be giving their pitches away. And then I try to go to where their release point is. Create a box up here where now you're basically taking your eyes away from their body, if you will, and just creating a box where the release point is. It's just like, you just get used to seeing it.
Right.
It's just like anything else. You do it enough, and if you face guys enough, too, that's another thing. When you face guys for 10 years, you've got a pretty good idea of how the ball's going to come out of their hand.
Right.
Well, I think that scouting reports are really good, but I want to see it. If I've never seen a guy before, I want to see it come out of their hand first. The first breaking ball that Nolan Ryan ever threw me, I thought our scout was drunk up there watching. We had in the report that he had an average breaking ball. And the first one he threw just went straight off the table. And it's like, okay, I don't know who's watching this cat, but it wasn't the same breaking ball I just saw. Amazing pitcher.
Yeah.
43 years old now, throwing 92, 93 miles an hour.
No hitting.
You caught yourself at times being a fan. You're sitting there in the dugout and you go, this is Nolan Ryan. This is pretty cool.
And I didn't have to pay.
Yeah, I got a great seat, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. That gobbled up by Navigato at shortstop. Goes to 2 for 1. Picked by Garcia at first. In time for the double play. How did Navigato get that out of his belt buckle? The way he gobbled him up, but he's still able to make a nice toss that's playable for Morrill at second base.
Yeah, this is another ball that the Horned Frogs hit hard. Navigato does a nice job. He doesn't panic, kind of bobbles it a little bit, and then loses his feet just a little bit. But makes a good throw over to Morrill, who makes a throw in the dirt that Garcia is able to scoop out of the ground. It's one of those little things that'll go into a scorebook that you just don't see. It'll just look like a 6-4-3, but when you get to see it in person, it was pretty cool to watch.
Now Hunter Wolf.
The birds, they fly south for the winter.
And Greg is just dealing right now. But you go back, Mick, to that ball that was played there, the Johnny Reiser getting that hit, ripping into third. It deflects off of Funk into shallow left field, and Reiser takes a big turn around first base and gets picked off. Just how demoralizing and deflating that was for TCU after the long inning by the Cowboys. They score 4 runs. You come back and you automatically put the ball in play. You get somebody on base for a split second, and the game completely changed at that moment.
And you don't know what's going to happen. The leadoff hitter, you get on, it could be the start of something really big.
But it was a leadoff guy after that 4-run inning.
And if TCU goes on to lose this game, that's not going to be the play that beat them. But it's little plays like that add up over a course of a game with a bad base running. Not being able to execute the situational hitting type stuff that can come back to haunt you.
Oh, not oddities like Cabanis pounding one into the plate, launching it high in the air and beating out an infield single. That's what started that 4-run sixth for OSU. It's a 4-run Cowboy advantage, 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Go to the bottom half of inning number 8. A new pitcher on the hill for TCU. Pitching in front of 4,242 fans through the turnstiles for this 4th and final game of the opening day of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Baseball Championship. A lot of orange, some purple. Baylor fans represented pretty well tonight as well. Cal Coughlin is the new pitcher for TCU. Nick Lodolo goes 7 innings. Coughlin comes in with Oklahoma State leading at 5-1.
A lot of innings pitched on the year, 18 innings pitched, 5.5 ERA. Does have 16 strikeouts in those 18 innings pitched, but 14 bases on balls. A little bit of a sensitive subject, the bullpen. When we were talking to Coach the other day.
Yeah. It was a matter of limiting how much he had to use it. And again, it's just a different situation for TCU than in the past. It used to be so formulaic. You get great solid starting pitching, 6-7 innings. Solid setup. Go to your closer. Go to Omaha. Back to Coughlin. And Morrill is thrown out easily. 1 away.
A good sinking fastball right there. Got in on Morrill's hands. He just said there's been guys that have just been pressed into places and situations that they're just not accustomed to.
Oh, and going longer. And that goes back to the fielding. It's just been a vicious cycle for TCU. You boot a ball. 70-plus errors on the season by TCU. Usually their numbers half that. But the few batters, and they've had to go a little longer, go into games earlier.
Well, this game's not by no means over with. They are certainly capable of scoring 4 runs in the top half of the 9th inning. And when you look at it, they've hit some balls extremely hard tonight, but they've hit a lot of balls right at people. Oklahoma State's made some great defensive plays. And just when things like that just start adding up, then you put on the, the base running mistake. It's the little things throughout a course of a game and throughout a course of a year that just adds up to a long year, in a year that TCU is not accustomed to.
Coughlin's making his 20th appearance of the year. A couple of wins on the season. If TCU does not come back, the Horned Frogs will take on Oklahoma in the elimination game in the evening bracket tomorrow. Oklahoma State advances to take on Baylor. That should be a terrific matchup. Flies away from the catcher. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Whoops. Hit the bull.
Tough night so far for Christian Funk, grounding into that double play, then back-to-back strikeouts his last 2 plate appearances. Fouled it back.
Well, Lodolo's going to be tough on a lot of left-handers. He's going to be tough on a lot of right-handers, as he was. I was really impressed. I can understand just, I watched that kid pitch as a freshman in Norman against Oklahoma, and he does look like he's gotten bigger and stronger, and just really impressed with the quality of his pitches tonight. He made a couple of bad pitches, ball hit out of the ballpark, but overall he's got nothing to be ashamed of.
It counts full to Christian Funk. Swinging and missing and striking out for the 3rd time tonight. Christian Funk's got an on-base percentage close to 400, but he hasn't reached in this game. 2 down in the inning. And here's Andrew Navigado, who will come to the plate. And it was Navigado who started that impressive double play in the Horned Frogs half of the 8th. The ball hit hard at him. Gobbled up, backed him up a little bit, still made a nice throw to second. And playable for Morrill. And stretched by Garcia. Good play. 1 ball to him.
Yeah, they've made some really good plays all night. Boone's made a couple of good plays in center field.
Souvenir for the Cowboys.
So she's playing really good right now. These last couple of weeks of the season, they have played extremely well. Swept Texas at home. Then they go get swept at Texas Tech, but the rebound that they had, and we said took 2 or 3, won the Oklahoma series. Technically swept Baylor. Only they played 2 games, even though they only played 2 games. But right now they're playing as good as anybody in the country.
Yeah, they've won 7 of the last 8 coming in. The lone loss, an extra innings loss, 3-2 to Oklahoma. That game played here. And what they did in going to Corvallis and sweeping Oregon State really changed the dynamic and the way people look at this Oklahoma State team. It's 32-17 on the year. But when they did that, all of a sudden they get into the conversation about being a potential national seed. You would think hosting's just a foregone conclusion at this point.
Well, with where they had number 9 RPI and the strength of schedule at number 1 in the country. They had to have a lot of things go their way on the last weekend of the series. They still had a shot at the regular season Big 12 title.
Mother Nature did too.
Yeah.
Had something to do with that. Baylor had a chance to potentially get the conference title, and 2 games played in Stillwater, and Oklahoma State won the first one 16-4. Won a closer one 5-4 on the 17th. And that lengthy at bat ends with Navigado drilling a base hit into left field. He fought hard. That comes with 2 outs. 6th hit of the game for OSU.
Yeah, good AB right there. Able to extend Coughlin a little bit with the pitches. Gets a fastball, drills it into left field.
Oklahoma State has put some big numbers on the boards. 15-0, 10-0, 11-10. The scores against Texas in that series sweep. 16 runs against Baylor. 10 runs against Oklahoma recently.
Well, that's a 3-run home run element all up and down the lineup.
Mm-hmm. Another throw to first. Oklahoma State won the series at TCU at the end of March. Lost the opener 7-4. Came back with a pair of 1-run victories, 7-6 in Game 2, 9-8 in Game 3.
Both those were late, I believe. Simpson hit a home run with 2 outs in the 9th inning to tie the game, and then Oklahoma State went on to win in 11, I believe it was.
Yep.
Good sinking fastball right there by Coughlin.
One ball, 1 strike.
You know, and they didn't even start their Friday night guy tonight. Jensen Elliott, who has just been just amazing the latter half of this season, all year long, the consistency. Coming back off the Tommy John surgery. He came back late last year to pitch a few innings, and he's just been fabulous. So if they can hold on here, it sets themselves up really good as far as their pitching goes.
Runner goes again. The throw down to second. It hit the runner. Got away from the shortstop, Oviedo. So stolen base for Navigado.
Not a bad idea right there. Base hit right here. Takes the grand slam away to tie the game.
Navigado had a great jump on the previous pitch. Equally good that time around. Looked like he got hit in the head with that ball. Good to have the helmet. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Colin Simpson fouled back off the fists.
You know, too, you look at the 2 staffs in these dugouts. Oklahoma State, Rob Walton, we hadn't even mentioned him tonight. And the job that he's done with the pitching staff. Kirk Sarlos on the other side with the pitching staff that they've done. James Valade coaching third base for Oklahoma State. I mean, 2 really, really good staffs.
Fouled out of play. And we'll do 2-2 again with Simpson. Collins average at 249 now. He had his 13th home run earlier in the game. That the leadoff shot in the second. Play starts tomorrow, 9 o'clock Central Time, with Kansas and Kansas State in an elimination game in bracket 1. Winners bracket.
They got breakfast going back here?
West Virginia and Texas Tech in bracket 1. Well, Navigado had a good duel with Coughlin, and now it's Colin Simpson. A couple of lengthy at-bats in this bottom half of the 8th. Ahead for TCU in their half of the 9th inning, Watson, Gunther, and Henry, 2, 3, and 4. That's away. High and away. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down.
I think he's working up a little lather right now. Look at the sweat dripping off the bill of his cap. It's hot out there.
Yeah, the humidity kind of rolled in and stayed.
Yeah, it's been a hot, sticky day here all day long. It's better than what they had to play in early in the season, though.
Sky high, foul ground. Again, the wind blowing right to left should keep it playable, and Humphreys just has a hard time judging that with the wind. That is an incredibly tough play, and I don't need to tell you that.
Well, it got above the stadium, but what he was at an angle, and what he's got to do, he's got to turn and face that ball. Let the spin of the baseball come back. You see he's at an angle right there where he should have been a little bit more turned, where he's a little bit more squared up to that ball. That's his ball all the way. I mean, the ball was hit way up in the air. You could say that, the first baseman, Gunner, could have come down there and called him off, but realistically, that's a catcher's ball.
And now the 10th pitch of this at bat. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
That's just another one of those things right there. That's not going to go down as an error, but that's an out. Mm-hmm. You're out of the inning. So now you're making an extra pitch. You walk Simpson, and you have to face another hitter.
And we might see a pitching change. Yeah, this is somewhat of a microcosm of the entire TCU season. Opportunities to get outs. You don't get the job done. You've got to rely on the bullpen a little bit more, and the strongest part of your team is your offense, and when the offense comes around, that group is pressing. Knowing you got to do something. You got to pick up the mistake. You got to clean up the mistake, and all of a sudden you're making mistakes that you ordinarily do. Perhaps being a little too aggressive on a ball that's potentially maybe you can take second base, but you're a little more advised to stay back, and instead you run yourself out of an opportunity.
Well, and Kirk Saarloos goes to the mound right there, and it's just, hey, look, you made your pitch. We should be out of the inning. We're still in this game. We're a few base runners away from bringing the tying run to the plate. Make us a good pitch right here. Let's get us in the dugout. Give us a chance. Don't let this thing get away from us.
Ball fouled back by Trevor Boone, who hit a huge home run back in the 6th inning. They really broke this thing open. Ball that sailed past the Oklahoma State bullpen in left center field. And that's a strike at the knees. And Coughlin's ahead 0-2. 2 aboard, 2 away, bottom of the 8th inning, and a 5-1 Oklahoma State lead. Grounded to third. That's a fair ball and a race to the bag. And it's won by Shepard, and that retires the side. So the 8th is over. We'll go to the 9th, and TCU has some work to do, trailing Oklahoma State 5-1. Can they come back? Only 4 hits so far. Five to 1 the score. Oklahoma State has the lead on TCU. A 4-run 6th inning. broke a 1-1 tie and put the Cowboys in front. And a new pitcher into the game for OSU. We got strong starting pitching from Parker Scott. Craig came in and did a pretty good job. And this is Ben Leeper, junior right-hander, who's got the ball for the 9th. He'll be facing 2, 3, and 4 in the Horned Frogs lineup. Watson, Gunther, and Austin Henry. Watson has 2 hits tonight. Stranded at second and was caught trying to steal in the 6th. 5 runs, 6 hits, and an error for Oklahoma State. 1 run, 4 hits, an error committed by TCU in this game. And here are the numbers on Leeper, who's 3-2, making his 23rd appearance.
Yeah, good numbers right there. 2.7 ERA, 26 2/3 innings, 37 strikeouts, 19 walks. Like to see that out of your bullpen. Come in throwing strikes. It's another one of those hard throwing right-handers out of the Cowboy bullpen. We haven't even mentioned Battenfield, Liner, Jensen Ellen we talked about a little bit, and he's been their Friday night guy. One of the many things that I like about this Cowboy team is that when you look at their starting lineup tonight, now this could be problems next year if they lose some guys to the draft, but they are a veteran crew. A lot of juniors, a lot of seniors. So you've got a lot of kids out there that's played a lot of college baseball.
You know, it's interesting, too, to think about what might be next year for Oklahoma State. And, you know, certainly they'll have some people who are drafted in enticing rounds that'll be very difficult to say no to pro ball and the money and the opportunity to try and make a living at this. But you might find some guys whose names aren't called right away. They've got to wait around. And instead of contemplating too much about it, you know, why not go back to Stillwater and be a part of the opening of the new ballpark, firmly establishing what Josh Holliday's doing with this program and resurrecting Cowboy baseball. You know, that 2016 team that went to Omaha was as good as any team that was there. And you've got to have the breaks that go your way. But that was certainly a team that could have won the College World Series.
Yeah, and a lot of kids on this team got an opportunity to experience that.
Right. So, sure, there will be agents, scouts, and teams calling when the draft rolls around, but it may not be enough. You know, I'm talking more, you know, the experience, not the money necessarily, but the experience.
Well, you're gonna lose Funk, you're gonna lose Simpson because they're seniors.
Right.
But you look at the lineup. Boone, I would imagine he's got to go with the year that he's had.
Yeah. An early call is going to be, come on, you can't turn it down. But some of those borderlines.
Navigado, with the way that he's played shortstop, the offense that he's shown, you know, is he going to go? Cabness, he's one of those 50-50 guys. But they've got a lot of experience on this team.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Watson. Just to stay alive. Watson at 321 now with 2 hits tonight. The 2-2 rolled up the first base line. Garcia got enough of it knocked down to get the ball over to the pitcher covering. Yeah, there's one away in the 9th.
Yeah, almost overran this ball. Ball looked like it took a little bit of a squirrely hop on him there right at the end. Stayed with it, didn't panic.
So Watson is down, and that'll bring Jake Gunther to the plate. Gunther was not in the lineup initially. The change was made about 5 minutes before the first pitch. His first at bat, he hit a ball to left field that looked like it might find the grass and roll to the wall, but Boone made a terrific sliding catch on that. Kept TCU off the board. Since then, Gunther struck out twice, once looking and once swinging. And count a ball and a strike to him now. Big cut.
Well, it's going to be a quick turnaround for him tomorrow. See how he feels when he wakes up. You know, was not originally scheduled to play tonight. I'm sure that Jim Schlossnagle's happy to see him play the whole game. You know, if this stays the way that it is, they're going to have to turn around and play tomorrow at 12:30. It makes for a pretty quick night.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. That just missed, but not by much. Well, the umpires in orange don't like that call or non-call.
I'm not so sure that Gunter didn't think that he was gone too.
Yeah. Well, that's really good.
That's a good pitch right there. You know, it's always tough to tell.
And Gunther drives this to left and gone. So the extra pitch to Gunther, and he's able to take advantage of new life and get TCU on the board. It's a 3-run game with 1 down in the top of the 9th inning.
Well, just when you think you got the second out of the inning with a strikeout, next pitch, it's gone. I was just getting ready to say it's awfully tough to tell because you look and see where the center field camera is, the angle at which it's set. You know, there's a lot of pitches that look really good. You know, this is a second home run that's hit about to that exact part of the ballpark tonight by left-handed hitters.
For Gunther, that's home run number 9 on the year, and his 39th RBI.
Yeah, for TCU, you're 2 base runners away from bringing the tying run to the plate. You know, that's why that getting that 5th run on the board was so important.
A 4-run 6th inning is what gave Oklahoma State the advantage. Leeper misses inside to Austin Henry. He walked back in the first, grounded out to the first baseman, and hit a deep fly ball to center field that was tracked down by Boone. Fooled a bit, and the count moves to 2 strikes, 1 away. After Henry, Johnny Reiser. Waved at it and missed.
Yeah, 2 good breaking balls in a row right there from Leeper. Got the half swing on the one before and then was able to lower that one even a little bit more. And got Henry to swing at strike 3 and the ball in the dirt.
So Johnny Reiser steps in with 2 down. Reiser has been victimized twice by great defensive plays. Funk at third base made a diving stop and a shot. Made a good throw to first. That ended the first inning. He popped out to the left fielder McCusker, who made a sliding catch near the wall in foul ground. And that's low and in. And it was Reiser in the 7th inning that led off a base hit that he hit off the foot of Funk at third base. Rolled into left field. He took a big turn at first, too big in fact, and got thrown out trying to scramble back. Strike taken.
Well, if this score stays the same, I think it's going to be a huge win for the Cowboys. Because if it stays like this and they're able to get this last out, they just beat one of the best pitchers in the country.
Yeah, that goes back to what we talked about earlier. Not just your resume looks good because you beat a certain team.
Well, it just puts more confidence, too, on a team that's already coming in here really confident with the way that they've been playing.
Yeah. Well, if you're sizing up a team for regionals and NCAA seeds, and you see that they beat TCU with Nick Lodolo.
Well, what they did to the Oregon State pitching staff, one of the best pitching staffs in the country.
Leeper skips that to the plate. That gets away. The count's full.
Yeah, trying to do a little bit too much with that breaking ball right there to finish this thing off. They've got a lot of weapons. They can beat you on the mound. Obviously, they can beat you with the long ball. They're not a team that runs a lot. They run enough.
And that misses.
That's good at bat right there.
So Reiser reaches. It's a walk, and it comes with 2 outs. And that'll bring Andrew Kiefer to the plate. He has doubled. A shot up the line into right field.
And once again, you're one hitter away from having the tying run at home plate. You get a base runner right here, and it's one swing of the bat, and this game can be tied.
Yeah, the atmosphere in the ballpark after that 4-run 6 by Oklahoma State has been somewhat of a foregone conclusion as to how this is going to play out. And you look up at the scoreboard, it's only a 3-run game. But the way the atmosphere has been, it's like it's a 13-run game. But here's Kiefer.
Well, I bet if you took a poll, the Oklahoma State fans were a lot more uncomfortable when it was 1-1. Lodolo on the mound than the TCU fans were.
I said it's Kiefer. They've gone to the bench, and it's Alex Asola who's at the plate and now facing a 2-strike situation. Horned Frogs down to their final strike, and that is hit off of Asola. He was in the lineup in the initial card that we got. And then the late decision was made to give Gunther a go. Gunther homered earlier in this inning to make it 5-2. Isola this season hitting .265. Fastball away. Cowboy fans thought that was a strike. Of course they did.
Yeah, that's a nice try right there by Leeper. See if he couldn't get him to chase something off the plate.
He's still in control of the situation. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
What Parker Scott also did was Oklahoma State has not had to use a lot of arms out of that bullpen. By his start, by going, was it into the 6th inning? Good quality start.
A lot of time taken to deliver this 1-2 pitch. Isola hit the first home run of the year for TCU. He holds off that breaking ball outside. He also had a walk-off 3-run home run against Kansas on May 11th. TCU had back-to-back games in which they had walk-off wins against the Jayhawks. One on May 10th, the next on May 11th. Prior to that, the Horned Frogs had gone 3,303 days between walk-off home run wins. And that's a check swing, and it's a called strike 3, and that will do it. So there's a little bit of drama in the top of the 9th inning. TCU does get a run, but no late game heroics for the Horned